Hello, everyone. We are kickstarting our science demo for this year's virtual PISF with our very first STEM speaker series. This time, you will have to tune in to both our STEM speaker and live demo session to participate in our quiz. So make sure you do that and win exciting prizes with us. Today, our guest speaker, Muneera, will be speaking a little about the brain and how it learns. Without further ado, I'll pass it to Muneera. Muneera, the virtual stage is yours.
Hey guys, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good day to all of you. I'm sorry, I need to silence it. Okay, so today we will be talking about our brain. Let me just, okay. We will be talking about brain, the amazing brain, and how it learns. All right, and we will also touch about how certain people have difficulties in learning, and we call that as learning difficulties. Okay, so without further ado, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so here is what we will be talking about: facts about the brain, things you need to know, and we'll talk about function of the brain. Each region of the brain has its own job, and we will see that later. Then we'll talk about how the brain learns. Okay, I'll show you how knowledge is being processed in the brain. And lastly, we'll talk about learning disabilities, types of learning problems that some people have. Okay, first, facts about the brain. Did you know that adult brain weighs approximately 1.4 kilograms? It is kind of heavy, don't you think? It's like the third heaviest organ in human body. Well, first is our skin, obviously. That's the heaviest. Second, we have our liver. And third, it's our brain. I think that still blows my mind away. Second, it drains 20% of total energy, oxygen, and blood. That's a lot, 20%, meaning that it uses up 20% of energy, oxygen, and blood in our body. Third, okay, if you don't know this, I'll be disappointed. Third, brain has two hemispheres. Okay, we have the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, and each has different functions. Fourth, did you know that each and every of us, we have like approximately 65,000 thoughts every day? That's a lot. No wonder we get headaches every day. Okay, then let's go on to function of the brain. Okay, before anything else, let me introduce you to the four important lobes that we need to know. Actually, we only have four. So you need to know all of these lobes. First and foremost, we have frontal lobe. Frontal lobe is it's the place where most of the thinking, the executive functions happen. And then when we speak, that is also where it processes the speaking part. And then when we reason, when we argue, it also happens in frontal lobe. And lastly, problem solving. So these are the major things that happens in frontal lobe. If you are wondering where is the frontal lobe, it is located here. Okay, it's in our forehead. Okay. Next, we have temporal lobe. Can you see this? Okay, let me show you. Okay, temporal lobe is it's kind of in the center of the brain, below the other lobes, the orange one. Temporal lobe, where memories are being kept, and then we have where our hearing is being processed. We have our behavior, where it manages our behavior, and also where amygdala is being kept. Amygdala is in charge of our emotions, where we're happy or we're sad, etc. Okay, that is all happen in temporal lobe. Then let's look at the opposite one, occipital lobe. Occipital lobe, let's just say that it is in charge of handling vision, okay, and also spatial. Lastly, we have parietal lobe. Parietal lobe is in charge of reading, body orientation, sensory information. Sensory information meaning that it processes what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we touch, and what we taste, okay? And lastly, it helps in understanding language. And let me share you the other two important parts of the brain, we have brainstem. Brainstem is in charge of involuntary action, and that is breathing, body temperature, which they actually help regulate body temperature. And then we have the help. No, that's not the right word. They are in charge of handling heart rate. Then we have cerebellum. Cerebellum is in charge in coordination, balance, vestibular, and also attention. Let's focus. Next. Okay. Wow, that's kind of fast. Am I moving too fast? I'm sorry, guys. Let's go on to the third topic. Let's see how the brain learns. Okay, if you look at here, on the left side of the screen, we have sensory input. Let me give you an example situation. Let's say you want to memorize a word, okay, for spelling bee, let's say. So when you want to memorize certain thing, what do you do first? We look at it first, okay? For example, we look at the word first, and that image of the word became the sensory input for our eyes. So as it goes to our eyes, our sensory organ, and then it travels to the sensory memory. Here's the sensory memory. Okay. As it travels to the sensory memory, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to say. First and foremost, I forgot to introduce you. This is the information processing model. It is one of the most basic explanation on how human learns. Okay? Oh, I'm terribly sorry for that. Okay, continue. After our sensory input goes through the sensory memory system, if we give our full attention on that, it will proceed or it will forward to the short-term memory. But let's say if we did not focus, give our all attention to that wording, it will be lost. We won't be memorizing it further. But if we give our attention, as I am circling the word attention here, when we give attention to certain thing, and in this case, the word that we wanted to remember, it will travel to the short-term memory. Okay, in here, short-term memory is one of the important system in our brain. Okay, short-term memory, as we continue to repeat, to rehearse the word that we wanted to remember, and if you look at here, above it, we have maintenance rehearsal. That is called maintenance rehearsal. As we keep on focusing, as we keep on repeating each letters of the word that we wanted to remember, that became maintenance rehearsal. Okay, but again, if we did not rehearse or did not repeat the word, it will also be lost. It will eventually lost. Okay, continue. Let's say we keep on focusing on that word, the same word again and again. It will then, from short-term memory, it will move or be passed on. Can you see the word encoding here? Encoding, in other words, meaning that it will simplify the word into a signal, a simple signal that can be kept in our long-term memory. Okay, it will be passed on to the long-term memory. And that is what all of us is aiming for. We want to remember something forever, okay? So if you want that to happen, if you want whatever you are learning to be kept forever so that we can recall anytime we want, you have to do rehearsal, you have to do repetition. That is when it will travel to long-term memory. And can you see the word retrieval here? Retrieval means that we can recall them anytime we want. So this is the goal. This is the goal for every student. We want to be able to do this, okay? And some information may be lost over time. Okay, this is, how to say this? Meaning that as we grow older, there will be some information that although it has been kept in long-term memory, it will eventually be lost as we grow older, lah, for example. Okay. Next, learning theories. We have many learning theories actually, but I managed to take 6 learning theories here. We have cognitivism, behaviorism, constructivism, social learning, cognitivism, and humanism. But for today, I will be focusing only three most famous, okay, if I can say that, famous learning theories. First, we have cognitivism. Cognitivism, oh, before that, for your information, for those scholars or researchers who support, who agreed on cognitivism, they are called cognitivists, okay? So cognitivists, they think that mind is the most essential thing in learning, the mind. Hence, they always look at how people think. In order to learn, they always focus on the mind, how the mental process happens. What is happening in the mind when someone is learning? That is cognitivism. Mental processes are the important part in understanding how we learn. This is what they said. And then we have the second theory, behaviorism. Behaviorism, the scholars that supports behaviorism, we call them as behaviorists. Behaviorists, they suggest that behaviors are influenced and learned from external forces rather than internal forces. So as you can see, these two, they contradict with each other, meaning that for behaviorists, they deny the existence of mind because they believe that the mind is something that we cannot see, hence we don't believe that. That is what behaviorists think. So they think that how we learn is by we observing other thing, and that is how we learn, not by the mental process. Okay, that is behaviorism. The third theory is constructivism. Constructivist, okay, those scholars who believed in constructivism, they said that learners create their own knowledge and understanding based on their previous experiences. And they said that learning is an active process which is personal to each student. Okay, I think that's direct. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Although it's not that important for you to focus on at this early stage. Okay, this is the most important part of today's sharing. Let's look at learning disabilities. What does it mean by learning disability or LD? LD is inability or limited ability in being able to learn, to acquire knowledge, skills, and attitude. If you look at here, we have causes of LD. LD can be caused by head trauma, genetic disposition, meaning that there's something happened, or there's problem in their genetic or their DNA, and then toxic substances that affects the brain, fetal malnutrition, drugs, and high fever. These are the things that can cause the brain to receive or to process, put out information differently from typical ones, from normal people. Okay, there's two types of learning disability. We have developmental disability and we have specific learning disability difficulties. For developmental disability, we won't be touching this, but I'll just share with you what are the developmental disabilities. We have Down syndrome, autism spectrum disorders, cerebral palsy. I've always had problem pronouncing this, and we have ADHD. Then let's look at specific learning difficulty. I'm sorry, difficulty. We have 4 specific learning difficulties. That's dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and dyspraxia. So let me show you what are these things mean. Okay, dyslexia, it means that when someone that has dyslexia, they cannot translate words to meaningful language, aka specific reading disability, meaning that when someone has dyslexia, they don't really understand what they are reading. They can't understand. There's impairment in their brain. Yeah, that is why they call it specific reading disability. Then we have dyspraxia. Dyspraxia is when someone is having problem writing letters or numbers, and they always reverse them. And also they have very sloppy handwriting. That is the obvious part of it. Then we have dyscalculia, and this one is easy. Someone with math difficulty, they can't do math properly, even though you've been teaching them like the whole year. So they still have problem with mathematics. And lastly, we have dyspraxia, problems in planning and coordination of body movements. That is dyspraxia. Next, these are possible problems faced by dyslexic people. So dyslexic people, they can't process or understand what they hear. And they also have difficulty comprehending rapid instruction. Hence, whenever you are talking to dyslexic people, please be mindful that you have to give them one instruction at one time. Please do not give them like overloaded or maybe like 3 to 4 instruction in one time. They can't understand that. Or maybe they can't follow that properly. The third one, they will have difficulty remembering the sequence of things. And lastly, they have problems in writing letters, reversal of letters, for example, B for D, P for Q, and etc. Okay. Can I have, oh wait, I'll try to play this first. I'm sorry. Let me just have Eli. Can I have Eli sharing the video, please?
जी
नमस्ते, मेरा नाम राम शंकर निकुम है। मैं न्यू एरा स्कूल पंचगिरी में पढ़ाता हूँ।
आइए।
ये उसके 3rd स्टैंडर्ड की बुक्स हैं।
जी
ये किसने बनाया?
ईशान ने।
ईशान ने? ईशान पेंटिंग करता है?
हाँ, उसको पेंटिंग का बहुत शौक है।
कभी बातें जैसे दादी नानी, कभी चलके जैसे मम्मम पानी, कभी बन जाए बोले सवालों की झड़ी, सन्नाटे में हंसी के जैसे, सूखे होठों पे खुशी के जैसे, ये तो नूर है बरसे कर तेरी किस्मत हो बड़ी, जैसे झील में लहराए चंदा, जैसे भीड़ में अपने का कंधा, जैसे मन मौजी नदियाँ झाग उड़ाए कुछ करे, जैसे बैठे बैठे मीठी सी झपकी, जैसे प्यार की धीमी सी धमकी, जैसे कानों में सरदम हरदम बजती ही रहे,
Okay. Thank you, Ali, for sharing that. If you see what happened in that video is that it's telling us about a kid, a child named Ishan, who is having, basically he's a dyslexic child, but no one noticed it at first until this teacher, Amir Khan, came into the picture. And if you notice his handwriting, it was quite sloppy, can you see that? And he also reversed righted it. It was S to the letter B and D was reversed, and we have S looking like number 3 and many more. And can I have Aili to share the next video, please?
Noun is a naming word, a pronoun is used instead of a noun, an adjective describes a noun, a verb describes the action of a noun, an adverb describes the action of a verb. A conjunction joins two sentences together, a preposition is used to describe the relationship between a noun and a pronoun, and an interjection is a word thrown in to express feeling. Have you got it, Mr. Ishan Nandakishore Avasti? Why? Why can't you? Idiot! Why can't you?
में हो अंडा क्यों रोज खाते डंडा
Grammar pathetic and spelling all wrong. अक्षर जो नाचे क्या खाई है भांग? Idiot, dafar, lazy, crazy, idiot, dafar, lazy,
क्यों भाषा खराब क्यों ना देते जवाब
क्यों करती नहीं try? Why, but why can't you?
Okay, thank you, Ailey. So, guys, can you see what is happening to this child? This is basically what he faced all year when no one's understand what is actually happening in his brain. This is very sad, okay? It's very sad to see how people don't understand the real thing happening in their brain and they kept on saying that he's stupid. Why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? How come the other kids can do this? Why can't you do this? Something like that. So it's very sad. Oh no, sorry. Okay, let me share with you famous people with dyslexia. Okay, as you can see here, we have Albert Einstein, the famous physician. Okay, and then we have Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is one of the, and Tom Cruise is one of the famous actors lah in America. And then we have Nikola Tesla, who invented current. And then we have Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso is a famous painter. And then we have Keira Knightley. Who don't know Keira Knightley? She is one of the most top actresses, and especially they recognized her for her beautiful acting in fantasy movies. So these people have dyslexia, but they manage to become successful. So don't think that having dyslexia makes you a less successful person. No. Oh, okay. All right. This is the part where I share a quick story about myself. But before that, let me just recap about the things that I've just shared with, to you just now. Okay. The thing is, having difficulty in reading or having difficulty in mathematics, it is something that we can overcome. Okay, for those who has brothers or sisters having this kind of difficulty, please show them your support. Please do not downgrade them. Do not demotivate them. Help them. Tell them that it's okay. They can also be successful like these people. And you have to find the right teachers, the right person who masters in this way of teaching. Help them to teach your brothers or sisters. Okay, that is one of the things that I think most people ignore or disregard. So yeah, and moving on, this part is where I share about how I seek revenge by succeeding. Okay, So to tell you a story, before this, all my life, I thought that my primary school was the most miserable thing in my life lah. Because back then, I've been receiving I've been receiving quite a lot of insults. People call names on me. They call me hitam, etc. I'm not going to say those words. Some of it can be kind of racist. And then, since I was having dark toned skin, so people called me hitam lah back then in my primary school. But what I did back then, I ignored them. Well, I pretended to ignore them actually, and I listened to my parents. They told me just to focus on my studies. And I did that, and I scored in my UPSR 5A, thankfully. That time, I thought to myself, okay, UPSR is over, phew, I can now move on, let's open a new book and whatnot. So I entered my secondary school. As I entered secondary school, hoping that my secondary school life would be more peaceful, eventually, nope, that did not happen. I became a victim of bully, school bully. I've been insulted, and as a woman, they made my honor, dignity a laughing stock. This is a true story, and I've been boycotted like many times. Like for most of the years, I've been boycotted by boys lah mostly, which I don't know the reason until now. And that happened for like almost 2 years. Then one day, one of the boys said this, and I happened to be near them, so I heard what he said. He was actually sad because in exam later he had to sit behind me. He was sad because he said that he can't cheat because I am in front of him and I am not that clever for him to cheat. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine, let's see. So because of that, I felt challenged. So I studied hard. I studied very hard and I focused on most of my classes. And then I got PMR 8As. Thank God, alhamdulillah. Then fast forward into 2014, I got SPM 8As and 4Bs. And this SPM and PMR was a slap to them. And I was very satisfied. Although I did not get my SPM 10As, but I was very satisfied that I actually proved to myself and them that I can achieve what I want. It's like that. Then I managed to enter ITP, pre-university UNIMAS, okay? And then I got 3.9 CGPAs, 3.09 CGPAs, which is still average, it's okay. Then I proceeded into UNIMAS. I took Bachelor of Science with honor, Science Cognitive, received 4 times Dean's List Award, alhamdulillah. And then I got the opportunity to take Master Degree of Education, Educational Psychology, and passed with CGPA 3.63. And to tell you this story, it's a bit embarrassing for me. But what I want to say is that people can say whatever they want to us. Okay, people can downgrade us as much as they can, but only us, we have the power to actually give the power to their words or not. Okay, this is confusing. Even I'm confused. Let me arrange my words back. Meaning that they don't have the power over us. We are in charge of our own life. So if you want to achieve something, if you want to achieve your own definition of success, please do not listen to what other people say. Please do not let other people control your mind and your life. Okay, do whatever you want to do to achieve your success. And even if you are being bullied, even if you are being insulted, do not let yourself stay in that position forever. You can stand up. You can get back on your feet and fight. And most important thing is you are proving this for yourself. You are not proving this to them. You want to gain back your confidence. That is the main thing that I want to share with you today. With that being said, I think that's all from me. Here's a picture of me graduating from Unimas, and a picture of me being a teacher for 1 year in a private school. And also, it's me on my examination week when I was taking Master in Educational Psychology. Thank you. I'll give the stage back to Ivy.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Muneera. Like both the science stuff, but also sharing with us like a little bit about yourself. I think it's very important for our students to also know that it's okay to be like a little bit vulnerable and also share the parts that's not so great growing up. Because
Yeah,
I think it's very easy to share our successes, but the parts that's a
true.
bit more difficult. Thank you so much for doing that for our students as well. Um, I also love how you share with us your pathway to success. For our girls and boys to know that even with different struggles or haters growing up, we can get to a place where we can be proud and happy with
Yeah,
ourselves. And you're absolutely right.
definitely.
That is all that matters, right, Munira? Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing that with us.
exactly.
Boys and girls, we hope you learned something new about the brain and how it helps us learn today. And do tune in to the second session of Science Demo this Thursday, where we will learn even more about the brain. My colleague Shafawi will demonstrate how nerve impulses control our body movement. I can tell you that it's pretty cool stuff, so you might want to tune in for that one. You can collect hints from these two sessions, today's session and the one on Thursday, and join the quiz to win exciting prizes. The quiz will only be open after the session on Thursday, so make sure you tune in for that as well. Thank you again, Munira, for sharing your knowledge with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And thank you again, boys and girls, for joining us. See you again in the next session of Science Demo. Bye, everyone.
Bye.